hit go live, then we'll roll in. Jasmine from TikTok asks, what do I do when I can't afford the lease after 1 year? Great question. You want to do an equity assessment, see if you can sell it. There's two main ways to sell a lease. You could have somebody assume it. You can go to a site like Swap-a-lease, and if you have a good car payment, you could list the car there and somebody could take over it, but it must be a good car payment relative to the deal. If you're paying, if you overpaid per month, then you're going to have a hard time getting someone to take over the lease. But if not, you can get rid of it there. Second is, I want you to call the leasing company, ask for your payoff, and then you're going to call, once you get your payoff, I want you to ask them if you have a third party restriction. Those are the two questions you're going to ask your leasing company. And then once you get that number, which is your payoff, you're going to go to CarMax.com, Driveway, Carvana. This will take you 20 minutes to do. Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, Auto Nation, Sell My Car, and Car Guru, Sell My Car. You want to get 6 offers. It's very important when you're on those sites. When they ask you, is your car owned, leased, or financed, put owned. That's going to tell you what the market value cash is for your car to get rid of it in a day. If it's greater or equal to your payoff, you can get out of it. If you have a third-party restriction, then you're going to need to take another step and you're going to sell to a local dealer. But you got to see where your equity position is first. Got to see where your equity position is first. All right, I'm going on and I'm sharing the broadcast, and then Dolan, you could queue up the next question. We're live on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So we are going to be taking questions from all platforms. The first one came from TikTok. We got a couple queued up on TikTok. So shoot the next one in, Dolan, and we'll get to it. All right, this is another one from TikTok. I have 2 payments left on my lease. What's my next step? Equity assessment. Who's returned a lease to a dealership, just dropped it off when it was done? You never assessed any equity. You didn't even know. Who didn't know that a lease could have equity that you could put in your pocket? It's not a guarantee, but many people all through the pandemic, we were showing them how to put $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, $12,000 in equity in their pocket from the end of their lease. I sold my lease. End of my Jeep lease, I made $8,900. My mother made $10,200. Now that was when everything was worth 7 to 10 grand more than it's worth. That was when the market was once in a lifetime. But does not mean we will never return a lease without doing an equity assessment. If you've done it, I want you to raise your hand and say, you know what, I turned in my lease. If you ever just dropped it off, you can't do that again. You must know if you have equity, and you follow those steps that I just gave to Jasmine. I think that was Jasmine who asked the first question. That is what's called in my book, in my process, that's the equity assessment. That is what you do. Everything I'm teaching you guys is from my new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. So every question you ask, when I answer it, it's going to be out of one of those 7 steps. And the equity assessment is step 2. You must do that before you ever return a lease for the rest of your life. A lot of you gave back thousands of dollars to dealerships and you didn't realize you were doing it. They bought those cars, put that money in their bank account when it should have been in yours. Yep. All right. Go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. All right. All right. This one's from TikTok as well. Let's go. Facebook, type your questions in. YouTube, type your questions in. Instagram, type them in so we can get to you guys. Another one from TikTok. Thinking of trading a car for a newer model. Should I keep the car and just get the new one? It's a good question. What's the benefit of keeping the car? If you were a high mileage driver, then I would tell, let's just say you said, Deshone, I'm driving 20,000 miles. It's in high mileage drivers, I want you to type HM. If you do over 20,000 miles per year, even 18,000 miles per year, just type HM. Regular driver, Jason, what's the benefit of having 2 cars? It's on insurance. You're paying for one when you get your new car. I like to drive that car that I'm paying for. I don't want to be paying for a car and then I got this other car that I'm barely using. But if you are a high mileage driver, then I would tell you keep that car and get you another car. And but if you, how many years are you keeping the car, Jason? How many years are you keeping this next car? Because depending on your answer, it's going to change my answer to you. So this car you're thinking about getting, how many years you see yourself keeping it? Let's start there. Come on, and shout out to the sharers. I see y'all running the likes up on TikTok, and y'all keep tapping that screen. Just every couple minutes, throw a couple taps. It really helps the broadcast, and I appreciate everybody who's helping us get this message out. I really do. We couldn't do this without you. Let's see if maybe 5 years, then you should not be buying that car, Jason. You should be leasing. And I'm going to break this down for you really quick because some of you know the depreciation curve. And the rule of thumb is when we talk about the hidden money in your car deals, my job is not to just teach you, if you're willing to listen, how to save thousands of dollars by making dealers and banks bid on your business. That's how we make sure we get the best prices. You can't get the best price. You can't make the best deal if you buy, but you should have leased. It's impossible because the depreciation curve looks like this, y'all. If you buy a car today for $30,000 today, I give you a car. I'm gonna show you something. I want everybody stay close to your keyboard. I don't want to, when I ask you a question, type as quick as you can so we can keep the dialogue going. If I gave you a $30,000 car right now, put it outside your house, you don't drive it 1 mile, you don't even touch it. We go outside a year later, is it worth $30,000? You didn't drive it 1 mile. You said, Deshone, I don't need the car, but I'm leaving it here. It's yours. You don't drive it 1 mile. Is it worth $30,000? No. So that's your first intro into depreciation, the unseen expense. Let's go a little deeper. If you put 10,000 miles on it, it's worth less, right? If you put no money in it, if you put no mileage on it, it's already lost thousands. If you put 10,000 miles on it, it's worth less, right? High mileage driver, let's say you put 20,000, it's worth less, right? Now what you're seeing is the expense you've been taught not to see, which is depreciation. It has nothing to do with car payments. It has everything to do with that. We've heard people say, oh, you know, cars are depreciating asset, cars are depreciating. What does that actually mean? I'm showing you what that means. I'm showing you what that means. When you're buying something that goes down in value, you have to look at when it's going down, when is it losing its most value, and your goal should be to avoid replacing it while it's losing the most value. How many of you have a car outside right now, outside your house? You've had it for at least 8 or 9 years. Type the number of years you've had it. If it's more than 8, don't type 3, don't type 5. For those of you who have a vehicle outside right now, and it's been in your home, in your household for at least 8 years, I want you to type the number of years. All right, we got Jason 10, we got 13, we got 8, we got 20, we got 14. Okay, so we got 10. This is the leasing versus buying question, and there's nothing more important than this to the foundation of your deal. Because if you choose wrong, you cannot get a great deal. And if you're new to this, then lock in for the next 5 minutes, and you're going to understand why. The people, those of you who said, Deshone, wow, Jazzy's 20 years. The vehicle, the value of your vehicle right now, isn't it going to be about the same a year from now? Everybody who just typed, look at and I want y'all to pay attention. If those of you who are like, Deshone, I never keep a car, you might be saying, looking at these numbers and saying, Deshone, I would never keep a car that long. It's not for me. It's not in the cards for me. It's not my style, not my habit, not interested. Perfect. Pay attention. 12, 20. So all of these people, your car will be worth next year about what it's worth right now. What does that mean? That means you have avoided the depreciation. You've won. The depreciation curve normally looks like this the first 5 to 7 years, but it starts to get like this the longer you keep the car. So now all of you who have answered, all of you who are watching them answer, their car depreciation curve looks like this now. It's not losing much value anymore. If you don't get to that level, there was no point in you buying the car, because you're replacing it here. There's only two ways to go from to avoid this type of depreciation. Car was worth 30, now it's worth 10, 7 years later. It's only two ways to avoid that type of hit. One, you're going to keep it long term. If that's not you, you should be shopping for aggressive leases. Not these leases you see in the car, in the commercials, come pay $4,000 down and all of that. These are not deals. Aggressive leases are below market prices, and they're pennies on the dollar compared to what you've been paying. You cannot win buying cars and switching them like this. That's why you always have negative equity. That's why you're always never happy with what you're getting for your car. You buy your car, you come back, look 3 years later, you see what it's worth. It's always disappointing because you're trying to literally get cash back out of something that is not designed to give you any value in the short term. Leasing or long-term ownership. That's why the first thing that I teach, it's called the most important question, is how many years you keep in the car. If it's not 8, then you should be leasing. It's not even a question. We'll go deeper on that throughout the show. Anyone who wants to know more about that, you keep asking, because once I open up that Pandora's box, it's like your mind is like, oh, but everything I heard about leasing, I heard it was bad. I heard you can't drive that much. I heard that yada, yada. They bill you for all of this stuff. All of those things, I'm going to help you unlearn, because unfortunately, the people who taught you that were confidently incorrect, which is dangerous. Confidently incorrect is you're dangerous to yourself and others. So, all right, so that's the key. That's the key, Jason. Don't think about buying if you're not keeping 8 years. You're going to overspend. And we'll talk more about that throughout the broadcast. Feel free to ask follow-up questions. Go ahead, shoot the next one, and I'll go as deep on that subject as we need to for you to understand it. It'll give you some lease comparisons. You'll see what great leases look like, and you'll see how there are pennies on the dollar when you know how to get great lease deals. And that's the way you avoid the depreciation. Only two ways: great lease deals, long-term ownership, 8, 10, 15 years. That's it. 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you can't avoid the depreciation buying. You just can't. You're going to lose thousands every time. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. We're keeping the questions coming in. We're live on all platforms, so just keep typing. I'm going to try to get through as many as I can. We got a lot of questions coming from TikTok. All right, let's go. Should I put money down on a lease that I'm about to turn in? That you're about to turn in. I'm gonna assume you meant, should I put money down on the lease that you're about to get? So check it out. Here's how you shop all your lease deals from now on. There's one thing that I never want you to say again. It's really two things, but in this subject, the other thing is trade. This is down payment. I want you to eliminate the words down payment from your vocabulary, because it's been used as an opportunity to get more money out of you. Who's ever went in, thought you were making a car deal, you thought you were going to put maybe $1,500 down, and then somewhere down the lines, these hidden things come like, oh, well, you got the taxes and fees, and then you end up putting more down than you thought you were going to. Has anybody, that ever happened to anybody? Hit the raise your hand emoji, or just type me if you've experienced that. You thought you were going to be putting this down. You might have gotten to the finance office to sign the paperwork, and now you got to come up with another 500 or 1,000 or the taxes or the fees or whatever it is, right? So I spent 14 years in the car business. For those of you who don't know me, I've seen the way we call them the 80%. 80% of people shouldn't be in the car business. They're overpriced. They'll sell their grandmother the highest price car. It doesn't matter. They have no integrity, very little morals. We don't buy from them. What you need is to learn to avoid them, and you also need to learn to find the 20% who beats them all the time. So when you shop your car leases, you are always going to shop. You're no longer going to say down payment. You're going to say this: total out of pocket. Total out of pocket. See, total out of pocket means that's what I'm giving you and no more than that. You'll see the difference. Down payment can be, that's my down payment, but what about my taxes and what about, so that gets convoluted. When you start using, hey, I'm only doing this total out of pocket, it's hard for them to switch it up, especially when you're adamantly aware of what that means. This is all the money that I'm putting out of my pocket. You could also say do it signing, but total out of pocket is probably more of a universal term. You shop your leases with 12,000 miles. Now, who was taught they limit you on the lease miles? Who was taught they only give you 10,000 miles? Because this question from TikTok, the person's asking, should I put money down on a lease? So I want to tell you how you always want to shop your car deals with no money down. That's what's confusing you. What's confusing you is you don't, when they mix the down payment and start throwing monthly payments, you are now not aware of what you're truly paying for the car, what you're truly getting. And so this is why you use what I'm telling you, you shop my way. You're never going to shop with down payments. That doesn't mean we don't put down payments down, but we do not get offers and we're not out there shopping with down payment money. Okay, so all right, I see it's happening to you, Fouché. So you're going to get your offers with first month's payment, total out of pocket, taxes and fees in the payment, 12,000 miles per year. Once you do that, I teach in my book, I have a new digital book. It's called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. I teach a strategy called the 25 to 5. We're going to connect with 25 dealers. We're going to get 5 offers. We do not make a decision without at least 5 offers. Because once you see, thanks to everybody who's supporting the broadcast with the gifts, I appreciate that. Once you see how different the offers are, you're going to realize you're going to see how much money is in multiple offers. You must get 5 offers because 80% are overpriced. Don't try to change these people. Don't question, oh, listen, why are dealers like this? Why are the 80% overpriced? Listen, Jim Rohn used to say, don't sign up for that battle. Why does the sun come up in the east, and, in the east and set in the west? Like, don't sign up for that. Some questions are not worth asking because they mean nothing. Just know that's what it is. Expected. 80% are going to be overpriced. This is why you are not going to get your best deal walking into a dealer anymore. You're going to sit at home. You're going to decide what you want. We call that shopping, not buying. This is step 4 of my process. We have 7 steps. Step 4 is shopping. And then once you decide what you want, you're getting it from home. 90 to 100% of your new car transaction and your leases should be done from home. That's where your power is. That's where you have the power of leverage. That's where you have the power to make multiple people compete for your business, which saves you thousands of dollars. I'm going to give you tons of examples. This works every time. How do we know? It's the way we buy everything else. Everything we buy in life. We go into the grocery store. We need spaghetti sauce. You need laundry detergent. It's a bid. You may not be aware, but I'm going to make you aware. Everyone is bidding for your business. Hey, look over here, Prego. Hey, this brand, Classico. Hey, we're on sale this week. Hey, we have the best. Y'all see what I'm talking about? Everything that we buy, especially expensive items, but even low-priced items, companies are competing, except in car dealers. They've trained you. They've trained me. If I wasn't in the business for years, I wouldn't know, to focus on one place and think we all have the same pricing. They made you think Nissan, we're a Nissan dealer, we're all the same price. So you might as well not even go anywhere else because we're all the same price. No, we're not. No, they're not. So when you start shopping multiple offers, you can do it by phone. I like to use email. I like to do everything copy and paste by email. But when you start getting multiple offers, you're going to truly see where all the hidden money has been, and you'll see how many of these dealers are overpriced, which is going to just make you say, from now on, I'm definitely shopping online. So but you need to do it correctly. There's some information you must give a dealer in order to get quotes online. And most of you don't know that. That's why you're having problems getting quotes, because you're not giving the dealer what they need to get quotes. So we'll go deeper on this throughout the show. But this is what we're talking about, y'all. For like, this is all in my book. In my book, you have the 7 steps laid out. You could cue the next question up, Dolan. And for our launch, you can get it for 75% off. The book's normally $97, but for our welcome offer, our launch, I said, you know what? We're going to do 75% off for 30 minutes. So when you go to my TikTok bio, you click that link. There's a button that says, get my new book, 75% off. You get yours. You won't pay the normal $97, but it's only for 30 minutes. Once that timer goes down, you go back up to 97. Same thing on Instagram. It's in my Instagram bio. And then we're going to put the link here for you guys here on Facebook and YouTube. All right, go ahead. This one's from Instagram. If I'm keeping a car under 8 years, I like y'all using this 8-year rule language. I like that. I like what I'm seeing. Y'all really letting, this is really absorbing. If I'm keeping a car under 8 years and will definitely go over the miles, how do I lease cost effectively? You choose the right miles. You never, I was at Hyundai. And I experienced for the first, most of what I'm teaching, I learned through being in the dealerships and just watching, paying attention, asking questions, seeing bad situations, and then asking questions to make sure I could help people avoid them. I was at Hyundai. I was a manager for 6 weeks there. And this guy came in and he was returning a high mileage Hyundai lease. It was the first one that I had really saw that I could remember. He brought it back. It had 70-something thousand miles on it. And I was just like fascinated. I said, you lease this? He said, yeah. All I do is lease. He said, man, I'm in sales. I used to buy these cars. You know, I was putting so much money in the cars, all this negative equity. And it was just like, I hated it. He said, once I got exposed to the high mileage lease, I never looked back. I drive this thing 20-something thousand miles a year, 3 years, I drop it off, I get another one. And so I said, okay. Because I had also experienced high mileage people coming back with lots of miles, but a lot of negative equity with it. Hey, Deshone, I'm looking to change this thing. How many miles you got on it? I got, 180. It's all highway. And then you look at what you owe, high mileage drivers. And I'm like, God, man, it's going to be hard because you got all this negative equity. So once he exposed me to that, I looked at his payment and I said, man, he's only paying a couple dollars more, $150, $200 more per month to have all the mileage. That $150, $200 a month is a lot less than the depreciation hit that he's taking. Again, going back to the unseen expense. We already said, we park a car outside your driveway tonight, it's 30 grand. Next, I asked everybody on here, is it worth 30,000 tomorrow, a year from now? If you don't drive it, everyone unanimously said, no, it's not. So even without mileage, it goes down. When you do regular mileage, it goes down more. Somebody doing 25,000, this is how you're destroying the value of your car, but at the same time, the loan is still staying high. So once I saw that you could avoid that with a high mileage lease, that became part of one of the strategies that I teach for high mileage drivers. This is only if you're short term. Pay attention to what Maddie's question said. If I'm not keeping it 8 years, if he was, there's plenty of cars that you can keep 8 years and just put a ton of miles on it. You're not worried about trading them or selling them because we don't trade. You're just going to get the maximum value out of it. In his case, he knows he's not keeping it 8 years. How are we avoiding the short-term depreciation? You do that with a high mileage lease. Second strategy, Matt, this is also in my book. I have 2 strategies for short-term high mileage drivers. That's one way. Shop for your lease, 12,000 miles a year. Identify the best bid, and then once you identify the best bid out of 5, you have them adjusted to a high mileage lease. Second is you buy your car, or if you have a car now, you keep that car, pay that car off, and now you're going to go lease your nice car, and that's going to be your second car. I call that 2 cars, 1 payment in my book. That's what it's called. And now you have, because some people say, Deshone, you know what? I want a nice car. I drive a lot for work. But man, I want to get me something nice, but I don't want to just be destroying it. And this strategy becomes perfect for them. This guy who's doing the high mileage lease with Hyundai, that's not a nice car. Especially once it gets up to 60, 70,000, it's not the, so some people are like, you know what? I want a nice car. I'll have my mileage car. I'll do, half the mileage on that. And then I'll go and lease me something and I'll do half the mileage on that. And so it's a beautiful thing. You got your nice, beautiful car, and you got your mileage car, and you split it. Payments affordable, and you're not dealing with all this negative equity like you've been used to dealing with as a high mileage driver. High mileage drivers are getting killed with some of the worst because you guys are just killing the value of your cars. You use either one of those, you're gonna love it. Both in my book. So if you want that step by step, it's in there. Some of you like, Deshone, this is great. I don't want to try to remember all of this. In my book, it's right there for you, laid out step by step. You can get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio, or just scan the QR code on the screen, or go to deshonesbook.com. Either way, get you 75% off. Okay, shoot the next one up. That was a great question, man. Shoot the next one up. Let's get through as many as we can. This one's from Instagram. Would you recommend leasing business vehicles? Well, that's a question for your accountant. Whoever is going to be helping you benefit from having vehicles in your business name, that's the person you should be asking, which is most likely your accountant, whoever does your taxes. Here's what I can tell you, and I'll keep this very quick. Many people are putting cars in their business name with no business, or no business that requires a car. Be very careful. There's two parts to this. One, whoever's going to teach you to put cars in your business name from a business strategy standpoint, that's who you need to learn from. Second is, you can use what we teach to save money on the cars, because what I see these people, influencers, social media people, paying for these cars, they'll never tell you what they're paying. And they go and they re-up their cars like crazy because they need it for their brand. The money they are losing, most people can't afford to lose. But unfortunately, they're desperate. But get the strategies, get the structure. I used to have people all the time ask me, Deshone, do you teach Toro and all of these, I said, look, I don't, but you need two people. You need me, because I'm going to teach you how to buy the inventory at below market prices. You need the business person who's going to teach you how to legitimately do the business, inventory and all of that. Those are the two people that you need. And without both of them, you got some incomplete counsel. But be careful listening to these people, man. If you don't have a business and you wrote off thousands of dollars in business mileage or thousands of dollars in car payments and maintenance, I don't want to be around you when you get audited. And the sad part is, those people who told you this won't be around when you get audited, and you can't support that. Just be very careful when you we don't want a second wave of the PPP. You get a lot. Okay, that's it. We're not gonna beat a dead horse. Go ahead. Next question, Dolan. I think y'all get the point. Some videos were the worst videos to go viral. Did so much damage, still doing damage. Okay, TikTok. This one's from TikTok. Facebook, YouTube. Keep typing. We're not seeing many questions from you today. Do you recommend leasing over purchasing? So you missed what we talked about. I recommend you go back, watch the beginning. See, there is no leasing or purchase. There is no either or. It's based on how many years I'm keeping the car, I should be leasing. There is no either or. When you lease, you are not keeping your car, and you are avoiding short-term depreciation, paying pennies on the dollar for brand new cars. That's not going and paying what they have advertised, or walking in a dealership and say, hey, work me up a lease deal. That is not what I'm talking about. When you add up the payments from doing that, you're going to see you overpaid. You probably broke the 1.5% rule, and you paid too much for a car you're giving back in 3 years. What I'm talking about is aggressive lease deals. Look at this. Give you an example. I'll give you an example right here. So, and this one, I love to use her because she was in the middle of the pandemic. People were out here buying Kia Tellurides for just $5,000, $10,000 over sticker. Bonita got hers in 2020. She got a 2023 Kia Telluride, put $600 down, and that was her car payment every month for 3 years, $600 on a almost $47,000 Telluride. Why is this so important? Some of you know, you may have seen the video, how much is every $5,000 in a car purchase price? How much is that per month on a loan? Every $5,000 is how much per month. So we're going to compare Bonita's incredible lease deal she got to someone who bought this same vehicle to show you that if you should have bought, but you lease, if you should have leased, but you bought, there's no way to win. It's over. $100. Good job. So that's clicking in. Ronald, great. $100. So whenever you look at a car, you look at a $10,000 car, your mind should automatically say that's $200 a month, 5-year loan. $20,000 car, $400 a month, 5-year loan. $45,000 car, which is about what Bonita got, that's a $900 car payment. So there's people driving this car. We're not even taking into account the taxes and anything like that. That'll put it up probably about 40. Actually, that'd be put it about 50. For her truck was 46, taxes and fees, call it 50. It's about $1,000 car payment for 5 years. She's paying $600. This is why there's no comparison. And sometimes your mind may play tricks on you. Yeah, but it's more than that. Is it? If you and I both drive out the same lot, same exact vehicle, you're paying, we're not putting any money into the deal. See, I want to make sure I keep you on track when you're not, neither one of them are putting any money into the deal. They're literally just going in, no down payment. All right, what's my deal look like? $600 a month, great lease. $1,000 a month, 5-year loan, no money down. So when we leave it the same, if I'm paying $1,000 and you're paying $600, is there any question of whether you're winning right now financially? Same vehicle. So as we drive, the only way you can eventually win, or I could eventually win if I bought, yeah, I'm paying $1,000, but I'm going to keep this vehicle long enough so in 10 years my Telluride is going to maybe worth $9,000. I kept it 10 years. It's worth $9,000 out there, but it's not losing value anymore. It's been in my household, and I was able to outlive the depreciation. So now I win. Doesn't mean you lose. See, it's not like, oh, well, you lost, you should have bought. No, Bonita knows I'm not keeping 10 years. I'm not keeping 8 years. That's not my goal. Therefore, I'm going to shop for great lease deals, and I'm going to pay pennies on the dollar compared to people buying, and that's my win. So there is no should I buy or should I lease. Do you recommend leasing over purchasing? I recommend leasing when you should be leasing, which means you're not keeping your car 8 years. I recommend buying when you should be buying, meaning you're keeping your cars 8 years. You're going to outlive depreciation, pay it off, and have a car that is not losing value in your driveway in 8, 9, 10 years. That's when both people win. And if you're stuck in the middle, then what I recommend is you get out of stuck in the middle because you're losing tons of money. Get out of being stuck. Buying leases out, buying loans, straighten them in. Get to one, choose a side. I put 2 good sides in front of you. Choose a side. All right? Good question, though. Go ahead, Dolan, cue the next one up. This was good, man. Wait, let me make sure. I'm trying to make sure I'm sharing all of this. Shout out to the sharers. Everybody getting value out of this? Type $ if you're getting value out of the show. This is what we do. All right, go ahead. Shoot it up. All right. A lot of questions from TikTok today. YouTube, y'all, come on. Type the question. All right. Good to see you, Melody. I see. All right. When is it a good time to buy a car? Sashi, there's no good time. There's no bad time. Dealers have to make deals. See, I want you to not believe the marketing. What I want you to also do is I want you to pay attention when we do these shows. Pay attention to, I don't want you shopping in an emergency situation unless it's an emergency. What does that mean? If your car was totaled, stolen, then it's an emergency. You got a couple days, no problem. You can use what's in my book. You can get bids. As long as you get multiple offers, you won't overpay. If you have your back against the wall, that's going to happen every now and then. Multiple offers is the key. If anybody had to go buy a TV right now, I said, look, you got 48 hours. You got to get a 100-inch TV, and you got to get a great deal on it. Is anybody worried about overpaying for the TV? Anybody on here? In 2024, is anybody worried? Dang, man, I only got You know, back in the days, it might have been like, oh, shoot, 48 hours. That might not be long enough. But you know where to go. Amazon.com, BestBuy.com, Walmart. I'm going to find the best deal on a TV. What I'm telling you is that's the same way you approach car buying. The more you do it the way you shop for everything else, the more you're going to see, oh, this is a lot easier. I'm in a lot more control. I eliminate buyer's remorse. So that so even if your back is against the wall, if you're shopping, buying, you still should be getting multiple offers to make sure you're getting the lowest in the market. I'd say at least 5 because 80% are overpriced. Now, if you have time, then what you should be is in the market early. I teach something called 2 dates. The as soon as date, no later than date. As soon as date means soon as you can make a deal. Don't look at offers until you can make a deal. Don't entertain it's a waste of time. You might say, Deshone, I'm waiting to get this promotion at work in May. Then I'm a car shop. Should I look at deals now? Makes no sense. You can watch the market, but it makes no sense to entertain offers because you're not in a position. So as soon as you could accept an offer. Now that might be today. Then no later than date. That's the deadline. The gap in between that is your leverage. What does that mean? The ability to say no. See, you're about to start shopping in a way where you can say no, and the people that are walking into dealerships usually have put themselves in a position where they can't say no. So they're walking in saying things like, I need a car right now. My lease is up. If your lease is up, call, get a free extension. You shouldn't be shopping with your back against the wall. They're walking in saying things like, man, nobody has cars. That's because one dealer they walked in didn't have cars. Maybe they went to a second one, didn't have the color they want, and they're like, man, nobody has cars. They're broadcasting that energy, which is actually that's going to cost you. When car salesmen take it from me, I was in there every day of my life for 14 years. Not every day, we had days off, but when you say things, we're trained to hear them. No one has cars. That means the price just went up. If I have a car, you're going to pay more for it. This is what the 80%, this is how the 80% think. It's a mind game. So you don't want to be there. You want to be at home. And when you have the ability to say no, now here's what you do. You reach out to dealers for your offers and you're telling them, hey, I can make a deal right now. This is what I'm looking for. But I don't need a car until July 3rd. See, that's power. That means, hey, if I got a car coming next month, I can talk to this person about it. Most times a person walks in, they need a car this week, next week. That means whatever's on the ground, that's all we can talk to you about. But when a person has been proactive in shopping, which is what I want you to do, which is what I'm going to teach you to do, it's all in my book, and it's everything you'll hear me talk about, is when you have the luxury of time, it benefits us. We make our contacts. A dealer might say, look, I don't have a car right now, but I got one coming in 6 weeks. Is that good for you? Yeah, give me an offer. Absolutely. Now, we don't talk. So I'm telling you, you could do it your way, which is call. I always say, ask for sales managers if you're trying to get offers online. If you're trying to get offers from home, we need at least 5. If you're going to do it my way, if you're going to get deals like Danielle and like the people you see me broadcasting the show, you get at least 5. Sometimes we get 10. I think somebody we showed the other day had 10 offers. So the point is, if you have the luxury of time, you want to use it. Don't be sitting here saying, man, I really can make a deal now or 3 months, but no one knows that. And then you wait until you only need to make a deal in a month. Now you start contacting dealers. You've given away some of your leverage. And if you're shopping for a used car, you can watch the market. When you start looking and you can see, man, I've been watching these cars for 45 days. I see the prices. When I first came, the low side of the market was like 26. Now I see that low side is about 24, 25. So these are things you can't do when you're shopping when you need a car. So there's no good time to buy a car because dealers want to make deals throughout the month. But there is a bad time if you've used up all your leverage. And if you've used up all your time, then you must do multiple offers or you're going to get killed. Sorry to say, there's no other way to say it. If you don't know how to shop multiple offers and you walk in needing a car in 2 days, you are going to overpay. So Multiple offers is always the answer. All right. Go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great question. This one's from YouTube. I'm only able to get a rental for delivery work. Is there any cons to this method? I don't really, okay, I think you rephrased it. Is there a proper way to rent vehicles for work, or is it fixed market and there's no way to save money? I absolutely not. Renting is going to be way too expensive compared to, this is why when people say, who's heard leasing is like renting? Who's heard that? Type the raise your hand emoji or type me if you've heard leasing is like renting. It's one of the most ignorant statements that, there's a lot of ignorant statements made about leasing, but that's one of them. Renting is expensive. Renting, you don't get a lot for your money. It's usually a short-term thing, 1 day, 1 week. You know, maybe if you had an accident, cars total 30 days. It's not meant to be long-term. So what I would tell you is if you were renting a vehicle, I would tell you try to go on Turo, try to find somebody who's willing to rent to you, possibly on a long-term basis where it's not going to be as expensive. Because I'm guessing if you're renting, there's a particular reason for that. But the money you're going to pay in renting, you should probably put some of it to the side, try to get you a car, cash, Facebook Marketplace, something to get out of that cycle and start to rebuild. In my book, I have a strategy of plan B, plan C for bad finance, bad credit, where, you know, you can talk about cash, you can talk about buy here, pay here, even buy here, pay here, if done right, is better than renting. When I was 20, my first car, my second car, actually, my first one was a $500 car. And after I got a buy here, pay here Chevrolet Cavalier. It was, I put $1,500 down. I paid $50, I think, a week. And I paid off the car in a couple months. That car lasted me 6 years. So the key with buy here, pay here is to make sure you're getting a great car, a quality car. And so, but renting, that if I had to rent a car and I'm in a position, I would try to find somebody on Turo, the lowest price per day, and then see, hey, if I did a long-term per month rental, how much would you give it to me for? I try to work that out, see how that works. All right. God bless with that. All right. Next question, Dolan, shoot it up. We're getting a lot of questions, so I'm going to try to move faster through the answers. This one's Facebook. Once you have the car you've decided on, how do you go about getting multiple offers from dealers? Well, you could do it the manual way, which is I would see the only bad thing. See, and here's the thing. You guys know, if you've been on, if this isn't your first time, if you've seen, you know I don't hold back. But I can't teach you scripts that I've written specifically so you don't have to talk. There's tons of scripts that I have in my book that you're copying and pasting from email, because when you're trying to get quotes online, you're dealing with trained people. And unfortunately, those trained salespeople are dealing with untrained customers that are not giving them what they need, not giving them the information. So 9 times out of 10, they assume anyone online doesn't really know how to shop online. They're defensive and they're not even going to give me what I need to make them an offer. That's why I keep trying to get them to come in. So when we do our copy and paste, we're giving them what we need. And that's the only reason I say I can't explain that to you. The only way to use that, like, all right, there's scripts for everything. There's 3 levels of contact when we're contacting online. This is my 25-to-5 strategy. You're using this for new cars and leases, not used cars. Different strategy for used cars. New cars and leases, you're using my 25-to-5 in the book. And what that is 3 contacts. First, we got to let the dealers know what we want. We contact 25 dealers online with a copy and paste template, tell them what we want. We need to tell them what we want. We need to tell them what our deadline is as soon as we can buy a car, which would be today, because we don't contact if we can't buy today, and then our deadline. And now you're going to have responses. Hey, when can you come in? Hey, when can I? Hey, when can we have a phone call? Hey, whatever. So because I used those scripts, I was able to write responses. I had to use those same scripts. Hey, Mrs. James, thanks for the inquiry. Hey, when we have I'd love to help you with this. I have a car. What would be better for you for us to talk? 1 p.m. or 4 this evening? I had to use those scripts. So I was able to write the responses to them. So we copy and paste. Now, the key is whether you're doing it that way or whether you're calling, the first key is, do you even have a vehicle I'm interested in that matches what I want? So in that initial contact, we're telling them exactly what we want. Color choices. Hey, I'm open to black, blue, gray. I'm open to a sport model or a touring model. I'm open to this. Like, this is what I like. You have to tell them that, or there's no way for them to search the inventory and get you and even see if there's a match here. So once we do that, that's your first thing. Do you have a car? Now, the benefit of doing the 25 to 5 is we're shopping out of 25 dealers' inventories. So we're giving ourselves the absolute best shot of finding something where we don't really deal with, oh, I went to this dealer, they didn't have a color I want, they didn't have the trim I want. If we contact 25 dealers and there's no inventory, that means they're either in between model years, which means, okay, maybe the 24s got sold out, 25s haven't come in yet, we're on that bridge, or it's a rare car, hasn't come in yet, or it's a very rare car. See, that's different than you believing the car is rare because you visited one or two dealers. Once we contact 25, if the color, we're reaching out for a pink one and the dealer is saying, hey, we don't really have that color, that's when we know. So shopping out of 25 dealers, we get the best shot. We're trying to find who has a car. Second thing we're going to do now is we need to send a quote request. When we send our quote request, we're telling them what we want. If we're buying, we're looking for all cash price because we're not doing tax. We want a bottom line price, and we're getting that from at least 5 to 7 dealers. Because when you shop correctly, remember this: when you truly have shopped multiple offers correctly, you're going to see at least a $3,000 to $5,000 difference from your lowest offer to your best offer. I've been working with people around the country. We're 2 million followers. We have 1,700 people we've worked with personally since 2021. That is the consensus. 3,000 to 5,000 bare minimum. And in fact, some of you who are looking for higher price cars, you look at somebody like Kimberly. Kimberly used multiple offers. Her Maserati she was shopping for, she picked it up a little while ago, $86,961 vehicle. They offered it to her for $66,261. Deshone, that sounds crazy. She saved 20 grand. Actually, 20,700 on that offer. So now you never can pick. You don't know where the bottom is. She didn't go in saying, if I can't save 20 grand, I'm not getting it. That's not how we go in. We go in, we do multiple offers, and we let the bottom reveal itself. We don't choose the bottom. All right. So once we do that, we're getting our quotes, and there's going to be a lot of people who try to stop that. Hey, we only do business in person. When can you come in? So you need scripts to respond to all that if you're going to do it fast and shop like we shop, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. But if you're going to do it manually, then you can call sales. You can ask for sales managers and try to get them that way. But do not make a decision before you see at least 5 offers. 5 to 7 offers. Nobody who's listening to me will ever buy a car without seeing 5 to 7 offers, new cars and leases. Never. Too much money at stake. All right. So that's how we do it, Damon. That's the intro, and that's the only reason why I can't go deep on my 25 to 5, because it's totally internet based. We do it 60 minutes. So everyone who's like, Deshone, I want to use that. It's in my new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. You can download it in my TikTok bio. You get it for 75% off as part of our launch, and it'll be in your inbox in 5 minutes. Same thing with Instagram. Go to my Instagram bio. You got 30 minutes before it goes back up to $97. Get your 75% off, and I'll post a link. Cue the next question up, Dolan. I'll post a link again for you guys here on YouTube and Facebook. Here's the emergency link. All right. This one's from Facebook. We got another question from Facebook. Hey, I'm in the USA, originally from Canada, and no credit in the USA as yet. Should I buy a used car with cash or a new one? What I'm afraid they'll give me a high rate. What do you think best option? Hey, if you got the ability to buy a used car cash, that's what I do. I'd get a great car, spend as little as possible on it, Facebook Marketplace, because I'm not looking, if I can, to go into a high interest loan when I can get me a car, and then I can build my credit. I want you to follow Haley, somebody named Shonda Martin. Her brand is called Road to 750 Plus. She's very similar to me in that she does these Q&As all the time. She's live. She's a genius. She's clearly studied for many, many years to understand. And even me using her thing, her strategies, I've added at least 80 points to my credit just from things I didn't even know. Like, and the real person who's an expert is going to show you where the blind spots are, things you didn't know. And that's what Shonda is. Some of you may follow her. She's amazing. Yeah, Cavante said, yeah, she's amazing. She is. So follow her. But yeah, I would be looking to get something inexpensive, point A to point B, little as possible. Make sure you find wherever you live, ask around who's the best mechanic in town. Ask like who does everybody know in town that fixes cars, just a good guy, good woman, and you find them and you say, look, I'm about to go pick up a car, I'm gonna buy it privately, well, can I pay you $100 to inspect it for me? Get yourself an inexpensive car, and that'll give you the ability to be on the road. At the same time, you have the ability to have the time to invest in your credit. So when you're ready to make a power move where credit's concerned with a car, be it leasing, financing, you're good. All right. But if you go buy a car overpriced interest rate, it could really set you back. It can really set you back. It's happened to too many people. Great question. Cue the next one up, Dolan. Great questions today. YouTube, should I buy a car cash or do I get a loan? It's a great question here. A lot of great questions. This is a matter of, look, nothing that I teach is really one size fits all. That's been the problem. 8-year rule, absolutely. If you're not keeping 8 years, that is one size fits all. That's why it's called a rule. You should be leasing if you're not keeping your cars 8 years. If you're buying, you should be keeping them more than 8 years. But when it comes to the cash or loan, here's what I've experienced, and the people who pay cash or don't pay cash, this is kind of what weighs it for them. What are they doing with, what are you doing with your money? Is your money making you money? If your money is making you money, I would have people come in the dealership, clearly had the ability to pay cash, because I would ask them, so how are you paying for the car? And they say, I'm thinking about, writing a check for it, but what are the rates? And if we had a special interest rate from the bank, like 0% or 0.99%, 1.99, 2.99 even, they'd usually take the bank's money so that their money could keep making money for them. So if that's you, and the rates are low, that's why whenever we shop for a car, you always want to check, are there any special interest rates? That's the first thing. I teach something called the bank bidding war. It's not just dealers that bid for our business, it's banks and credit unions too. So in the bank bidding war, there's 3 rounds. The first round, though, is checking if there's any special interest rates, because if there is 0.99 or 1.99, no one's beating that. Therefore, the rest of the rounds are non-applicable. So if you can use the money cheap, that's when you use the money and you let your money keep working. Now, another person, a different person, Deshone, I'm not really investing my money. You know what? I just kind of like to keep things to a minimum. I got my cash over here. Okay, then. I would still, if the money was cheap, consider it, because we could be coming into days where cash on hand becomes a little bit more important. But it's really about the cost of the money. If rates are high, 6, 7, 8%, 9%, 10%, then you want to put as much down on these cars as possible. If you're buying them, you want to put, you want to pay them off if you can, because the money is expensive. So it really depends on the cost of money. People, when the cost of money is cheap, they benefit from that, and I would think that those principles will work for anybody, and that's, you pick and choose which one of those situations fits you. But if you check the special interest rates, that usually puts it to bed. You see 0.99, it ain't no reason. Why would the bank's basically giving you free money to use. you can keep your cash on hand and, you know, still get the car. So I know some people don't believe in that. They don't believe in interest, but here's the thing. There's something called opportunity cost. Interest is not the only loss. When you're talking financially, opportunity cost is important. When you put 30 grand in a car and it gets you, we already talked about this. Cue up the next question, Dolan. Depreciation curve. When we start talking about financially making decisions, a lot of people see, if I put 30 grand cash into this car, what is my cash worth in 6 years? $30,000 car, what is it worth in 6, 7 years, y'all? 12, 10. So what's the return on that cash? It's not even positive. It's not even neutral. It's negative. So these are all the things that it's like, okay, you go over that, what I just said over the last 6, 7 minutes, and you choose what makes sense for you. But I'm never going to give you one size fits all formulas. That's what has failed you. Always do this. That's what has failed you. Go ahead. All right, this one's from TikTok. What's the best way to purchase a car once lease is over? Why would you want to? All you're doing. All right. Let's talk about buying our lease out. And I'm going to keep this quick because some of you know that I'm adamantly against this unless you're keeping the car 8 years. Because sometimes we look at our leases, right? And we say, oh, it's, you know, should I buy my lease out? Here's the question. Should you lease again or should you buy a used car? When you are buying your lease out, all you are doing is buying a used car. That's it. When you look at it that way, it's going to become more clear to you. It's just, it's your car. You don't have to go search for it. You do need to make sure it's a great price relative to the market, but that's all you're doing, buying a used car. So the question becomes, should I buy a used car or should I lease? And when you realize that the 8-year rule, breaking it, is going to continue to lose you money and put you in negative equity, you won't buy your leases because you don't plan to keep them again for another 8 years. I'm gonna tell you how I found this out to be horrible. Guy walks in the dealership. I'm looking at the car that he has. He says, okay, I'm looking to trade this in and get me something new. I said, okay, how many years old is that? About 5 years. Okay, cool. How long you had it? I had it since it was new. Okay. All right, you know how much you owe on it? Nah, I don't know. Now that's not a good sign, because if a person tells you they've had a car for 5 years, and they've had it since it was new, wouldn't you think it was almost paid off or paid off, right? If that makes sense, type of dollar sign. If a person said, you saw me, like, yeah, I had that car 5 years, I bought it, I've had it since it was new, shouldn't it be almost paid off or either paid off, right? So when he said, I don't really know what I owe, I was like, okay, no problem. We'll call the bank. We'll find out. All right. So I have the used car manager look at his because everyone who's in this position, I'm going to tell them about leasing. So I'm looking forward to that, because once I tell them about leasing and I show them the numbers and like, hey, you keep trading these cars, look how much you're going to save. And some people will come in and their car was paid off. And I'm like, good thing is whatever that car is worth, you're going to get all that back. You're not putting it into your deal and using most of it as a down payment. So I've literally changed people from financing or buying to a lease, giving them a check back for their whole car that they was coming to use as a trade, and they get a check for $12,000, and then they leave with a lease with no money down or little down, and they're like, yo, this is great. So I'm thinking I'm about to lay this out for him. And so used car manager goes, looks at his car, may say like, okay, I think the car's probably worth about 18. Okay, perfect. So let me call the bank, find out what he owes. Hey, how are you? I'm calling for Mr. Johnson here. Yeah, he's interested in replacing his car. We need his payoff. Okay, the payoff is 18,000. Wait a minute. How the heck is the payoff 18,000? Hey, Mr. Johnson, they're saying you still owe 18,000. Dang, it's that much? Yeah, I didn't know it was that much. Wait, I thought you said you had the car since it was new. Yeah, I did. You know what happened? We leased it for 3 years, and then we had bought it when we bought it after the lease. That's how I learned how bad this was. So I'm like, okay, because when you buy your car off lease, most people, you're going to need a 6-year loan to have a similar payment. So if your payment was $400 and you buy the lease, you're typically going to need a 6-year loan to have around the same payment, right? So picture this, 3 years to lease it, then you get a 6-year loan. 6 plus 9 is what? 6 plus 3 is 9. Anybody on here signing up for a 9-year loan on a car? Anybody? We got a lot of people on here. Anybody on here signing up for a 9-year loan? No? Okay. Room's quiet. So we've never signed up for a 9-year loan. Look, she said, heck no. Right. We never signed up for a 9-year loan, 9 years of payments on the same car. Yet when we buy our leases, this is what's happening. So you look and say, all right, you bought your lease, you put 6-year loan, so you leased it for 3, then you paid it for another 2, that's 5. Now you're tired of it. Yo, man, I've been in this car, let me go trade it. Problem is, you still have 4 years left of payments. That's why buying the lease is horrible. One situation where it makes sense, if you're keeping it 8 years. That's it. If you're going to keep it another 8 years from the day you buy it, then potentially go ahead. Because all it is again, buying a used car. If you said to Sean, should I buy a used car or lease? How many years you keeping it? I'm keeping 8, 9. Buy the used car. Don't lease. So preaching the truth. Thank you, Kevin. I'm glad, man. And see, hopefully these stories will stick in your head. So when you encounter these situations, you know, when someone says to you, hell, man, I'm thinking about buying a lease, you'll never forget the story. So this has nothing to do with getting the best deals. This has everything to do with with having the best deal structure. So I'm glad that clicked. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. Oh, I see we already been on for. All right. We'll do a couple more. I'm trying to get through them as quick as possible. Y'all, if y'all like Deshone, I love to know everything you teach of how you shop for cars. Everything I teach is in a step-by-step way. In my digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. Everything we do is a bid. We're buying cars and leasing cars in 90 minutes, 60 minutes. When you get good, you'll be able to do this in like 45, 60 minutes. You never spend more than 30 minutes in a car dealership. You're at home. You're the prize. You're getting bids. You're no longer negotiating one-to-one where you're in a losing position. When you're getting bids, you're in the winner's position. So you can get your book for 75% off as part of our launch. So we want to do 75% off. It's normally $97. In my TikTok bio, you can grab yours. It'll be in your inbox. And some people say, before I get to this next question, Deshone, is it in print? There's a lot of reasons when you use it, you'll see there's no way this book could have been printed. One, things change. Vroom was one of the companies that we used to use for bidding. Vroom's out of business. If we had 100,000 books out there in your houses that you all paid for, now it's like, okay, what do we do, y'all? That's obsolete. Now that's when you hear people say, hey, you need volume 2. I know just 6 months ago that I asked you and told you that I was going to solve your problem with volume 1, but that's no good anymore. Volume 2, get it today. We're not doing that. And there's nothing against them because, again, you know, they did what works, but we didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to update this book on the fly. What I did when Vroom went out, I updated the file. Everyone's book was updated. And there's also links in there. There's links to videos. Like I said earlier, you have my scripts in there. That was all stuff. You're going to be copy and pasting this. There's no way I could have did that in a physical book at all. All right. What do you think of Swap-a-lease? If you can get a great lease deal, absolutely. Absolutely. We always compare, divide the monthly payment into the MSRP. The 1% rule has existed way before I started, way before I even got in the car business. The 1% rule said if you can lease a car for less than, for 1% of the MSRP, no money down, no money out of pocket, just, you know, covering the first month's payment, you stole a car. Coincidentally, every lease I've ever had was under 1%. I paid $330 a month for my $35,000 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. I $325 a month for my Infinities, then $345, then my highest one was $390. And that was a $45,000 vehicle. So these are under 1% leases. In order to get 1% leases, you need to shop multiple offers, but you also need a great lease program. So what we always say is under 1% is a steal. You'll see there's 3 categories of leases. Steals, great value. Those are under 1%. Great deals. Those are between 1% and 1.5%. And then where it's time to chill, over 1.5%. You're paying too much for a car you're giving back. So if I was taking over someone's lease, I'm judging it by the same thing. Leasing is a value play. How much car can I drive for that payment? It's the ultimate way. The lower that percentage is, the more you've leveraged your money into a great car. So yeah, I'll check Swap-a-lease, definitely. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. This one's from TikTok. Can I sell a leased car? Who didn't know you could sell a leased car? Type me. My cousin left me his 2020 Toyota Highlander with 2,000 miles, so I need to get out of my lease. I don't need 2 cars. Okay. Equity assessment. Call the leasing. Matter of fact, I'm not going to repeat it because I already talked about this at the beginning of the broadcast. So after the broadcast, go to the YouTube page. You'll see it. I think it was either the first or second question. So within the first 10 minutes, I talked about how to do the equity assessment. You're going to follow that process. And this is all in my book. If you're like, Deshone, I don't even want to watch the video. Is that in the book? Absolutely. Because everything I'm teaching you is out of 1 step in my 7-step process. So the equity assessment is step 2. After we decide leasing versus buying, that's step 1. That's the most important question. Foundation of your car deal is, did I lease when I should have leased? Did I buy when I should have bought? Once you pass that, now if you have a car to replace, you need to do an equity assessment to see, do I have equity? Am I at a break even, which means I can get out? I'm not going to make any money, but that's fine. I can get out. Some people got a lease. I could get out the lease early. You technically can't do that because you're breaking a contract. But if you can sell out and break even, then you can get out early. Or do I have a negative position in which case I can't get out early? In the case of a negative, if you have a negative position on a lease, you can't get out early without penalty, without those payments. But if you're a negative equity on a finance, then that's different. There's no negative equity in a lease. I know we kind of use these terms interchangeably. Negative equity is only with a finance because you have to pay the money. With a lease, if what I get offers for, if it's below my payoff, then I just stay in the car until the end. I don't have negative equity. So you do the equity assessment, and hopefully you can break even. And the good thing about Toyota, if they haven't changed it, and I remember right, they don't have a third-party restriction. So you should be able to, if those offers you get are what you owe or higher, then you should be able to sell that car right to CarMax or Driveway or AutoNation, whoever makes you the highest offer, and you can be out of it literally. You do that today, you could be out of that car tomorrow. All right, so keep me posted. Go ahead, shoot it. See, we're over an hour. And I know Dolan, we always try to keep the shows an hour, but it's like the questions start rolling in and it gets good. Go ahead, shoot another one up, Dolan. We'll wrap in a second. Facebook. When you go online to build and decide on needs and wants, you look at the cash price, not the lease price. We don't look at any price online. Pay no attention. Nothing online is a deal, y'all. No commercial. I don't care what you see. Deals are like this. Hey, look, this is their offer. Look, this is what we gotta. Can we do it? What? Can you get them up any? Will they come up any at all? Nah, man. They said that they made this, and it's like, shoot. All right, let's see if you get another. Can you get another $10? If you get another $10 a month out of them, just take it. If not, then do the deal. That's a deal. You don't repeat it. You don't. I used to have to tell certain people, when you got a real deal, hey, when you come back, I'd love for you to send me friends, family, but don't tell them what you're paying, because I probably can't duplicate that, honestly. That's a deal. The whole opposite is what they advertise to you. Deals are not advertised. Deals are when a dealer makes little to no money. Little to no money. That's a below market deal. If they're putting something on a commercial, that means the dealer doesn't mind if 80 people come in and get that offer this month. You have the money down? Yeah, I want to pay the $460 a month. Okay. You have the money down? Yeah, it was $3,400, right? Okay. What about the taxes and fees? Because that's small print. All right, how much is that? That'll put you probably about another $3,200. And then I could be at that payment from the commercial? Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's do it. That's not a deal. That's not nothing special. We didn't mind making that. Come on, if that's what you want. So if you want deals, you got to understand. Don't look at commercials. Don't look on the internet. Oh, this deal is advertising this. Deals are not advertised. Let that set. All this marketing that has worked on come at the end of the month. Imagine being in a business where your customers were trained to come at the end of the month. Imagine if you had a pizza shop, a car wash, and that happened. You knew that the industry was so good at marketing that you knew the last 3 days of the month, your car wash is going to have lines around the corner. That's marketing. So dealers make deals when they're like desperate. I want to see. Nobody's here. So don't pay attention. Don't pay attention to that. Just follow the process. Oh, I see you got the book. Just follow the process. If it's not written in there, Ty, don't add to it. Don't add to it. If Deshone didn't say, go to this website and look and then write that down, don't do it. The whole purpose of why I wrote that book in that way is to take the guesswork out of it. If you find yourself like, okay, what should I do here? All right, I'm going to do this. You're probably off my path because my path is very rigid. It's like a McDonald's system. You hear that beep, the nuggets are ready. Oh, don't change it. And then you'll get the results. We call that trust in the process. Great question. All right, y'all. We just hit an hour and 10 minutes. Y'all, I would love to do this all day. We are going to continue to do these broadcasts. Once the questions start coming in, I just really, and I don't want to discount any questions. So I wish some questions I could just answer in 30 seconds. It's not possible without me just cutting it short and then you not getting the value out of it. So we try to get through as many as possible. For everyone who wants everything I teach in one place, you can get everything in my social media videos. But I think what you understand now from being on the broadcast is there's lots of different situations. So when you're moving through my social media video, you're saying, oh, he's talking about leasing here. He's talking about buying a used car here. He's talking about banks here. He's talking about high mileage here. All right, that means I got to try to piece this together myself. Same thing with the broadcast here. If you're like Deshone, I want everything in one spot, step by step. It's all in there. Leasing's in there. The high mileage paths are in there. The new car purchase paths are in there. Used car purchase paths are in there. And step 7 of my book is delivery. So you shouldn't be thinking, oh, I'm going to read the whole book, then I'll start shopping. No, it's action guides. It's essentially a big checklist. Do this, do this. By the time you get to step 7, you should be picking up your car or getting ready to have it delivered. So that's the way it is. You don't take a quiz at the end. The quiz is if you did it right, your car's on the way. So everyone can get your book for 75% off as part of our launch. It's in my TikTok bio. Grab yours, use it, and please make sure you email me your deal. As soon as you make your deal, send me an email. Deshone, check this out. I don't want to see just the car you got. I want to see the price you paid. You're going to have price assurance, and I'm happy to be on this journey with you. So get it in here. I'm going to send this link. I'm going to type the link one more time for you guys here on Facebook and YouTube. In case you missed the countdown, I just typed the link. You can grab it there. TikTok, Instagram, it's in my bio. Click that website and then click that button that says 75% off. So until then, thank you, Ty. Great questions today. Great questions. All the questions were good. And I'll see y'all on the next broadcast. We'll keep this going. God bless y'all.